Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here of KW Bonsai. Today we're going to be working on our Austrian pine. We're going to be plucking needles, cleaning up the surface, and anything else we find along the way. You can see at the top of the tree that the needle density is really dense. There's no light really gets into the branches or anything. So we want to thin that out a bit. It's mid-July right now. Which is a good time to pluck your needles on your pines. I haven't fertilized this tree yet. Its fertilization will begin soon. The new needles are still hardening off, but they're not fully hardened off. So we'll probably start fertilizing in probably another 2 weeks. The principle of needle plucking on a pine is to balance the vigor of the tree. So we want to take vigor out of the top of the tree and increase vigor at the bottom. Naturally, the top of the tree is the most vigorous and the bottom is less vigorous. So we want to balance that. So all our new growth doesn't come up top. We get equal growth all the way around the tree. The ideal time to do needle plucking is when the new growth starts to fill in and it starts getting too dense. So usually late July is the best time. So we're going to start up top here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a few needles that have some brown tips on them. And that was my fault. When I repotted this tree on the last video, we had quite cool weather. And so I had the tree in the greenhouse, so the roots could recover after repotting. And our club collection trip was the next day. And the temperature went up to 23 degrees Celsius that day, which is nice and warm for the first time of the year and full sun all day. So I had the tree in the greenhouse and it got some burning on top of the tree just from heat. So yeah, that was my fault. I should have kept it lower in the greenhouse rather than up on the bench where it would have been cooler and it would have been fine. But anyway, it didn't hurt the tree at all. It's just some of the old needles have a bit of browning on the tips. So anyway, we're going to remove all the old needles from the upper part of the tree. So we're taking vigor out of the upper part. And the lower part of the tree, we're not going to remove so many needles. We're going to keep it a little fuller in the bottom. So here we go. So I'm looking for all the old needles and removing them. I always scissor prune my needles. I don't want to damage the buds that are going to form in the spots where the old needles are. Yeah, so I'm just cutting the old needles away. I'm just leaving a little bit of the old needles on the branch. Just a few millimeters, or about a 1/16 of an inch. The old stubs from pruning these needles off will turn yellow and fall off eventually. It doesn't take all that long. Needle thinning like this, it exposes the woody part of the branch to the sunlight, and you'll get back budding then. If you have all the old needles on there and there's no sun hitting these branches, you won't get buds forming. So your tree will just grow at the tips and get larger and larger every year. So we want to, promote back budding so we can keep the tree compact, so we can prune off the growing tips and prune them back to some back buds. I will be doing some more wiring to this tree later on. I didn't do any wiring this year because it was repotted. And you shouldn't do too many things to a tree all at once. Repotting is a major operation. You don't want to repot and wire at the same time or you're probably kill the tree. I'm happy with the overall styling of the tree. I think it tree looks calm and peaceful and sits nicely in the pot. Of course it has its faults. We'll be working on those. It's kind of got a bit of a bulge here that from removing branches in the past, but it is getting less noticeable as the tree grows. So we'll continue growing that out. I like the style of the tree too because it doesn't have that collected tree look where branches are twisted and wired into position, where it kind of has that fake mushroom canopy on top. And yeah, it looks like it was grown to be a bonsai tree, this tree, and I like that look. I like, a tree that's been carefully grown. I'm getting a little tired of collected trees that are wired up to look like a bonsai tree. I don't know, that's just me maybe. This summer has been a very dry summer so far. We had our driest June on record for 25 years, so I was watering every day this June. Every day was full sun. So it's been good for the trees actually, as long as you keep them watered. It's quite exciting every year to see how the pine fills in and gets denser. Pines, I find, are very reliable trees. The deciduous trees are more fussy. Their buds can get frostbite and not come out on some parts of the tree. But pines, they're very consistent. They seem to come out with their needles every year. No problems. They're not so fussy about temperatures and frost and things like that. So I think they're a good tree. They call the new needles the Emperor's New Cloak. Every year it's like a new outfit on the pine. It gets its new needles and just looks different every year. It's better and better. I'm out in the greenhouse now. There's just better light out here. It's a rainy day and it's really been relaxing out here. There's been a slight pattering of rain on the roof of the greenhouse. It's nice and quiet today. Yeah, so I've got kind of the upper part done here. You can see a lot more of the structure of the tree, which hopefully is a good thing. It does have its flaws. So we're going to continue down. As we get down to these lower branches, we're going to be leaving more needles on. I'm working away at the middle zones of vigor. So you can see on the ends here, I've left some of the old needles. You can see here. So in the middle zones, I'm leaving like, about 4 pairs. It depends on the vigor of the branch. A branch like this, which has got all kinds of new growth tips on it, really vigorous, I probably could prune all the old needles off. But some of them, like here's a branch here, it's just starting to put out new shoots. It's not a real vigorous branch, so I'll leave more needles on that. All these old needles will be removed in fall before the trees showed it all in our club show, because they'll have done their job, providing energy for that section of the tree for the summer. So then in fall they can be removed, give lots of light for back budding, growing the new branches for next year. Here's a shot showing the understructure of the branches. Yeah, you can start to see them better as the needles are thinned out. I finished needle plucking. I didn't touch these lower 2 branches. I just left them as is. So I think you can see now that the foliage is quite balanced. We have kind of equal density on the top of the tree as we do on these lower branches, which is really good. It means the tree should grow quite evenly. So needle plucking is just another tool to balance the vigor of the tree. Just like pinching your candles in spring, needle plucking kind of helps equalize the vigor in the tree. We're back inside now. There's still lots of work to do to this tree, but I think we'll leave this video just dealing with needle plucking, equalizing the balance in our tree, removing more needles from the top, fewer from here, and almost none from the bottom. To create a balanced tree, so all our zones of vigor and growth will be almost the same. In the next video, we'll level our soil, even with the lip of the pot. It was mounted up a little high when we repotted it, just to make sure the roots were covered and in the ground. And we'll do some cleanup work on the trunk and maybe some light pruning. So we'll leave all that for the next video. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai, do something green today. Pull out your weeds instead of using pesticides. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.